Good morning, everyone. It's Daphne from Scrap and Create, and I'm back today to continue working on the Graphic 45 La Romantique album. And today, right now, we're going to focus on getting page 3 done. So this is a video for page 3. And I have to warn you, I've got a little bit of a chest cold, so I'm kind of struggling with my voice. So I'll do my best to keep my volume up. So again, we're on page 3. And I am going to start by installing this pocket. And this pocket is 3.5 by 9. 3.5 by 9. You're going to score on 3 of the 4 sides a 1/2 inch. And that's going to be applied directly to the bottom of the page. And as usual, I've noted that this is page 3 and this is the spine side. In this particular case, it doesn't really matter because it's going to go on the bottom, but it's good to know what the top and bottom is. So I usually write the page number and then the spine. So on this side it would be page 4 and the spine would be over here. I'm going to go ahead and sit down. I usually start my videos standing up and then sit down. And I'm going to jiggle the camera a little bit because I'm going to plug it in so I don't lose power. So bear with me. The other day I was filming and I forgot to do that, and my battery went dead on me. And it doesn't give me an alarm or tell me anything unless I'm looking at it. And where I'm sitting right now, it's actually above me, so I can't see it. All right, so I'm going to dry fit this real fast. And I'm just looking to make sure that all the corners are coming together and there's no overhang that might interfere either with the spine or just hang out past the edge of the paper, and it looks pretty good. All right. Okay, I'm using my pretty normal technique where I tack down one corner and then I use it as a pivot to get the rest of it in straight. Now, in the event that it doesn't fit perfectly, you want all the overhang to go toward the spine because this is the edge of the paper and your eye is going to be drawn, excuse me, your eye will be drawn to the outside edge of the page. So you want that to be as straight as possible. Hopefully it's completely straight and you don't have overhang on either side. And in this case, that turned out pretty nicely for me. Okay, so that's the base page with the pocket. So the next feature is going to be a top-down flap. And then on top of the top-down flap, you're going to have a left and right flap like so. And when it's all in place, we're going to tuck something inside this pocket to hold these flaps closed. So now I'm going to give you these measurements, and then I'm going to tell you we're going to do something to make sure that this will close nicely. I'm going to set this aside for the moment. So go ahead and trim up your top-down flap to 5.5 by 8. 5.5 by 8, and you're going to score a 1/2 inch. You're going to have 2, and here I wrote it, 6.5 by 5, 6.5 by 5. So it's 6.5 across, 5 inches tall, scored a 1/2 inch. So at the end, you get a finished panel of 6 by 5. And you're going to have 2 of those. Okay, they're going to get installed, like I said, left and right on top of this. So here's my plan. I'm going to go ahead and install these 2 flaps on this top flap first. Then I'm going to come across here and dry fit it. And if it's interfering with the pocket, it won't allow me to slip something in to hold everything together. So I'm going to attach these 2, dry fit it, and we may actually wind up trimming something off the 5-inch height. And I think we will. It'll be very little, but we might have to trim a little off. So I'm going to tell you that the cut list is going to reflect the 5 inches. And then I'm going to put a note on the cut list that says to trim to fit. And that means once you've installed it on the top flap and you go test it against this pocket, you may have to trim off a little to fit. And these 2 flaps are meant to overlap each other. Okay, there's one. And as soon as I am ready to lay it down, I'm going to try to get as close to the camera so you can see what I'm doing to adjust it. I need to straighten that up a little. There, okay. It wasn't flush with the top. Okay, so now we have our left and right flap, and then this is going to be the top down. So this is going to go in like so. Now, as I had mentioned, the idea here is that we'll use something in this pocket, a card or a bifold or something in here, that's going to hold everything in place when it's not in the open position. So we need to be able to attach this to the top and not have this flap overlap the pocket. If it overlaps the pocket, like so, you can't get anything tucked in. So I'm gonna say, when you get to this point, you're gonna dry fit it. Don't take your tape off yet, dry fit it. Test it a few times, make sure that you can get something between the flap and the pocket. And in this case, it looks fine. Now, if it didn't, what I would do is I would take this whole thing and lay it in my trimmer and take a slight sliver off, as little as possible, dry fit and test again, and then keep doing that until you can easily slip something into the pocket. So in this case, I didn't need to, it doesn't look like I need to do that, but I'm going to turn it around and look at it from all angles and make sure I'm happy that, because I also don't want it to be raised higher than the edge of the top of the page, right? So all that needs to be flush. And so far it's looking pretty good. So it turns out that my measurements are working out, and probably the reason is because this was 3.5 by 9. When I scored it and folded it over, it probably wound up being a little less than 3. So the reverse of that is you put the top pockets in and you trim, the top flaps in, and then you trim your pocket until you can slide something in. You can do it either way. Well, I'm having a hard time with my voice. Okay, so I think I'm happy with this, so I am going to go ahead and lay it down. Now, worst case scenario, you do this. You lay this down, and then you go to try to put something in the pocket and it doesn't work. Well, it's relatively flat, and you can still get it into your trimmer if you need to. That's not the case with the pocket, but it is the case with the flap. So for now, I think it looks good, so I'm going to put it in as is. And this is the top of page 3. Actually, I'm going to do it. Nope, I can't. This is the top of page 3. Okay, sorry. Fooling around trying to figure it out. All right, okay, so there it is. So we have left and right, and then top, and then our pocket. Okay, so that's page 3. So now we're on to, of course, the exciting stuff, decorating. Yay! And I'll be right back, guys. I forgot my ink. Okay, guys, I'm back. Someday I'll get this figured. I need 2 of everything. Something for this room and something for the dining room. All right. All right. This is so pretty. And I'm going to use the Graphic 45 roses, and I can't remember, it's something pink. But it actually looks more peachy to me, and it goes with this collection. Perfect! So I'm definitely going to be using a pack of roses. And of course, that'll all be in the description. If you click show more, I'll have the material list, the cut list for you guys. Okay. So this is going to go on the main body here, and it's just going to slip slightly into the pocket. So I'm going to turn it so I can see what I'm doing. Because a lot of times it wants to grab a little before I'm ready. So I'm tucking it slightly into the pocket. And the reason I do that is because then anything you want to slide into the pocket just goes much easier. It's not getting hung up on a piece of paper coming in or going out. So that little liner helps. Okay, it's not quite centered, so I'm going to tug it over a little. On both sides. And take a look. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Okay, let's burnish that. Okay, there we go. Love it, love it, love it, love it. Okay, and then I chose this for the pocket down here. And I like that real well too. So, the next collection that's coming out from Graphic is this lovely fashion forward, and it's a calendar collection, which they haven't done in quite some time. So I'm going to do something different. I'm actually going to make a 6-page base album, which I don't have a tutorial for, so it'll have its own base album build, and then I'm going to set it up so that each page, each side of a page, it will represent a month, and that's why there'll be 6 pages in the album. I haven't decided what size yet. I kind of want to get my eyes on the pattern and the size of the print before I decide the size of the page. But I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be, even though it's going to be a little bit larger, it's going to be a fairly simple album because I'm going to make my pages repeat. Since I have 12 total patterns to work with, I don't have to get the uniqueness out of the flaps. The uniqueness will come from the fact that I have 12 separate patterns. So I'm probably going to standardize my pages and then just use the prints to make it unique. But having said all that, I don't have the paper yet, so I'm going to make that final decision when it gets here. I want to thank everybody for tuning in, watching, and subscribing. I want to share with you that we just this week passed the 9,000 subscriber number, and we're thrilled about that. So thanks again for tuning in and supporting our channel, and coming on over to our Wix shop, or our Scrap and Create shop. I do want to say though, at the moment, and it's probably not likely to change, we ship only to the United States. I know that's disappointing for some of you that are out of country, but the cost to ship outside of country and the added complexity to the business model because of import, export, and taxes is just, it's more than we can manage. It's really just the two of us, Julie and myself. Julie, who runs essentially the business operations, and I do technical support and also creative work. So it's just the two of us, and we just can't seem to find time to take on any more challenges at the moment. So I apologize, but that's kind of our business model for the time being. You know, who knows, there might come a time when we actually grow a little more, but there's nothing in the foreseeable future. If you are an international customer and you're looking for similar products, I do know somebody, she's got a shop here in the United States, and she's bigger than us, and she will ship international, but I have to warn you, the shipping it's quite high. Anyways, her shop is a Photobella, and that's photo with an F. You can give her a shot. Okay, so this is the plan I have for this design. This is one of the cut aparts. It's gonna go here. So I'm gonna go ahead and trim this down. It's a little bigger than it needs to be. That's not my pencil. And then, and if you do go to Photobella, tell her that Scrap and Create sent you. I'm actually going to be seeing her in January, and just visiting for a little bit. We'll be at the same conference. It'd be nice to know if you guys are getting over there, and helping her out too. Okay, sorry, I'm not organized. And there goes my light. A cloud just came in, so I'm gonna add some artificial light, guys. Which I know you hate, and I do too, but it is what it is. I'm already so far behind on this because I just have been so busy with regular life. My son's school, we had our fall retreat, and that, you know, takes a few days to get ready for, and actually a few days to recover from. And then, of course, in the middle of all that, I caught a chest cold. So, this is such a pretty print. I really like this. There is a ton of content out on this because it's a re-release and a DCE. So, in addition to what I'm doing right now, too, there's just a lot of content out on this collection. So even if this isn't your thing, you're going to find something you like. The next thing that's coming out after Fashion Forward, or coming out at the same time, is Birdsong. And oh, I can't wait to get my hands on that. So that'll be a DCE. And what that means is you get 2 each of the patterns. And there's 12 patterns. So they do a combination of the original collection pack and some of the patterns and solids, but all in one pack. You get stickers and chipboard, and that's what comes in a DCE. So it's an abbreviated release, but still plenty to work with. You don't get ephemera cards, but you get sheets that can be cut apart and used like ephemera or tags and pockets, that kind of thing. So there we go. So there's the cover. So now we need to get some paper on the inside. So it'll be just a minute. Okay, we're ready to decorate the inside. I'm going to set this aside because I'm actually going to back it with cardstock and then put some chipboard behind it as well, so that it pops out just a little bit more here at the bottom. Okay, so I've got my paper selected for the inside. And this is what it's going to look like. So that's going to be the whole inside layout. So I'm going to set these aside right up top, kind of in the order I'm going to use them. And then I'm going to come back around to this panel. So you know we've already covered this one. And put my designer paper down here. And just dry fitting, and it looks pretty good. So I think I'm ready to get it in. Just using this contrast paper to help me see these 3 edges clearly. All right, so that's in. Okay, so the next thing I think I want to do burnish that down a little. So I'm going to open it up, and I've got these two trim pieces that are going to go here. And I like the look because you can see that it frames this out. And then when you close it this way, you've got that same frame. So it kind of repeats that frame pattern. So I think the next thing I want to do is lay these two pieces down because I may need to trim the centerpiece. And I'll tell you guys what I did. Each one of these strips is 2 inches wide. So 2 inches, 2 inches, and 2 inches. And then I just trimmed this piece out to fit. So, and 2 inches is kind of a good number for me because it fits in my trimmer well. I can hold it. It won't torque on me. So I can get a straight line. It could be 1 inch, but this is just aesthetically what I thought looked good. And as much as I like the black, it is quite strong, so I kind of use it sparingly. So I just butt it up against this just to make sure they're both the same height. They are. Just the last chance to check before you glue it. That didn't go down straight, so I'm going to try again. Much better. Is it? Is it? Let me check. You know what? I think I'm too far from the hinge, so I'm actually going to try to reapply it one more time. If I can get it to come up. You know what? I waited too long. It has to happen very quickly. So I'm a little disappointed with this gap. It's not that bad, but I also noticed when I was laying it down that I had this little tick hanging off the edge. It's just a little bit of the hinge from the top panel. And I don't like that, so I'm going to trim that off so it doesn't get snagged on something. Okay, there we go. And this side is fine. That's another reason why once you get it all together, it's not a bad idea to just take a sliver off, fold it closed, take a sliver off the bottom, and then you know for sure everything is very flush. So I'm just going to check real quick. So I just noticed now, I'm disappointed that I didn't test this sooner. So I told you that the way that we're going to hold all of this closed is we're going to put something in the pocket. And I'm starting to notice because of the buildup, it closed easily before I started adding layers to it. And now I'm going to struggle. So it's not going to be as easy to get inside this pocket as I was hoping. You still can, but when all the flaps are closed, because this is so much taller than the pocket, it's going to be a challenge. So I really recommend putting a little bit of a gap there so that it's easier to get behind this. So it'll be okay, but it's just going to be a little harder to get into than I had hoped. I might even do something to make it easier, like put a little tab there that you can tug on to lift the pocket up. We'll see, but that's my lesson learned for now. I hadn't considered all the layers of paper. So having said all that, I think I would have taken about 1/8 of an inch off. So that would mean that you would see that pattern. Even when everything was closed, you'd see a slight strip between here, which I think would look okay. You would just have to keep in mind that whatever you were putting here coordinated if it was exposed, and I think it would. So there's one other thing I can do to fix this if I think it's really problematic, and that is because the pocket is actually put down with tape, I can undo the pocket, take the pocket out, trim the pocket down, or design a new pocket and replace it, which would be, I'd lose some of my designer paper, but I'd only lose this. If I trim this down, I really have a problem with with lots of papers. So this, I would only have to replace one panel. So it's just something to think about. The other thing, like I said, is I'm going to put this on here with some chipboard behind it, so it's going to stand up. I might even be able to tug on that a little bit, and it'll be enough to open the pocket for me. I'll test it for you, and I'll let you know before we do the second page that has this design, what I finally settled on. And if I decide to modify the design slightly, I will keep you guys informed. Okay, I'm ready to put this in. So while the phone paused on me because I got a phone call, so I'm really not sure how much got lost, but I think just a couple seconds. So I was talking about whether or not I would trim this top panel a little bit shorter, and I think I would. Now that I've added all the papers and it's building up, it's going to be hard to get your hand in behind the pocket, even though you can still see that there's a slight gap, because this is going to be so much taller. You're going to need something to assist you in holding the pocket open. So I'm going to try to put my head together and think about some things that we can do to help us tug that pocket open without modifying anything. And I'll let you guys know as I proceed, because there'll be another page designed just like this. If I make a change, I will definitely point it out. Okay, so I was trimming this to fit perfect, and just a tip, just a little bit off. And it should fit now. Almost. Okay, and like I mentioned, these two pieces are 2 inches each, and then this is just trimmed to fit in between with a slight, and I want a little bit of the white paper or the cream paper exposed. Okay, we're making some progress. So I just thought of something else. So, and I'm going to make this decision before I move on, because I'll need to put magnets in somewhere. So the other thing is, if it's too hard to get into the pocket, we still have the benefit of a pocket when you open the top flap, like so. You still have this pocket. So the way I had designed it was, the intent was when the pocket is, or when the top is closed, we have something in this pocket holding everything in place. That was the plan. But now it's looking like it's getting too hard to get the pocket open. So the alternative is, you still have the pocket, you just use it as an internal pocket, like so. And then we use some magnets to hold this closed. And I think that's what I'm going to do. So that's a change of plan, but it doesn't affect any of the cuts that we've made so far. So I'm gonna go ahead and put a magnet here, and then one on this side to hold everything closed. Is that really what I'm gonna do? I have to think that through. I think so. Okay, I had to think about whether I was color blocking, and I'm not. So that would go there, and then I really need, I think, I need a magnet here. So I'm going to test it by putting my papers in to make sure it can go through all the layers. So have another layer there, another layer there, and is it still holding? It is. Okay, I think that's what I'll do. Okay. Which means I can go ahead and put my tape on top. Like so. Okay, let's go ahead and get, since I've got it open, let's go ahead and get this piece in. And that's what this is. It's a solid piece, so that goes in quickly. I'm going to turn it around so I can see my edges, get my tape off, and well, before I do that, let's dry fit it one more time. Yeah, that works good. I'm going to open my flaps to make this as flat as possible. Just makes it install easier. Okay, so I've mentioned this before in other videos, but when you make a mistake or if you have an intent and it doesn't work out, there's always a solution. Just may not be what you had originally thought of. Like in this case, I was trying to do it without magnets, but I now know that this flap really needs to have at least an 1/8 of an inch gap in order to be able to access that pocket from the front. So we'll just make it an internal pocket. No big deal. Pretty easy. Okay, that's in. So again, that closes. Now we're going to flip it right side up. Got these 2 panels to add, and then we're done with page 3. Okay, getting close. I left the cap off too long. Pretty cool. Okay, guys. I actually got to open everything back up, but I think this is our last panel. Got a piece of my hair stuck in there. We don't want that. Okay, and then like I said, I'm gonna pop this up and it's gonna go here, just like so. I'm really happy with this look. Okay, so we've got a flap that opens to the right, to the left, and then this flap opens to the top. And this is a pocket, and I'll put something in it. I just don't know what yet. For the moment, I'm gonna put this in here so I remember to add it in the embellishment face. And that's all for page 3. Thanks everybody for tuning in. This is Daphne from Scrap and Create. Thanks for coming along on this journey with me, and I'll be back soon with another page.